Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Spring 2018. That was a weird as hell game, and we had an extra long break so we could comprehend what the hell happened. I'm really glad that we had that time, Papa Smithy, because it was just weird. I don't know.
I think that's the right word. Weird, depending on how you pronounce it.
I apologize, everyone. I'm Australian.
So am I. But two Aussies tried their best to make sense of that particular game, and it was a bit of a head-scratcher. 48 minutes of not much. I should say 45 minutes.
It was 45 minutes
3 minutes of a
nothing.
whole lot. Which is when we got excited. Who do you give the MVP to? Apparently, it's Peanut.
Apparently Peanut. Well, I mean, he got, 50% of the team's kill participation. That's good.
Yes, all 6 of them.
I have absolutely no idea who's supposed to get this MVP. I thought maybe BDD because he got a quadra-kill to save the Nexus, but that wasn't exactly good play. That was saving bad play, I guess.
Look, there was a lot of play. I think I've had a lot of time to think, and I think honestly they understood the frustration of the fact that we don't have games next week. I want to give you the most game this week. And for Kingzone and their ability to go 2-0, they just want to give you a bit of a bonus. So this was almost like your favorite TV show had 20 minutes extra you didn't know about. It was an hour-long episode of your favorite TV show, 44 minutes after commercials. So that's what you get. You get 47 minutes of weird stuff, and it all ended with the right team winning. But the way we got there, oh boy, there was some Deus Ex Machina going on here, where just, why not give the Teddy 6 items? Why not?
Yeah, just hand it to him. Is it a scoreline of 0-0-0 at 45 minutes with those 6 items? But still, quadra kill there comes in for BDD. That was the moment where it all turned around, and unfortunately, with an ace at that time in the game, even though there were no kills prior to it, when your first visit to the death chamber is, over 60 seconds, that feels so bad.
But I feel like both coaches, from what I was seeing, have decided that was all a bit of rubbish, and we're going to do new stuff in Game 2.
Yeah.
Player change on the Jin Air side. Going to bring back Justice against his old lineup. Remember, he was Longzhu's mid lane sub last year. Now, playing against his old lineup here is Justice. Aurelion Sol, 1-0 on the season. We have to have at least one Aurelion Sol player, so that will be Justice. So bringing him into the lineup, but I believe they'll be on the sub on the other side as well.
Yeah, it feels like we were in an extended break, so we are going to have a look over on the Kingzone side of things as well. And if there has been any subs so far this season, it was in the jungle position.
Yep.
But it's not happening.
Nope.
Top lane as well. I mean, Rascal could have just come in if he felt like it, but no, not happening.
I got too excited. I thought there was going to be 2 subs. Only 1!
Oh, no.
But Justice demands retribution, Atlas.
I was wondering when the quotes were going to come in.
And I want to see some Justice Aurelion Sol. Give it to me. Give me that Aurelion Sol, Jin Air.
Give me a ban, Kingzone. Aurelion Sol's too weird.
Well, Vladimir, it's not allowed.
Great.
They don't want to deal with SoHwan running around the top side. He played all 3 games on Vladimir in his last series. Didn't really capture the imagination, but maybe Kingzone want to play some more Gnar. So there'll be a theory there.
It's a bit weird that they're going to ban it out here, though, when it was completely untouched in the last series.
What would you consider banning instead,
Atlas?
Atlas? What would have changed with the bans? What would you like to see on the blue side?
I'm actually okay with the bans that they actually went for. I mean, it was Azir, SoHwan, and Kha'Zix. And this feels pretty smooth. Actually, no, it was Kalista, Taric, and Galio. And I actually felt like those 3 worked out fine as well. But I guess Galio is more of a red side ban, and the Caitlyn is going to come out here as well. So Kingzone making sure that they're targeting.
Maybe they'll ban the Sivir as well and really show Teddy something.
And then he insta-locks Varus, and then we're still having a bad time. Oh, dear.
Well, Zoe's off the board as well. Chances of BDD jumping on Azir get higher, so that's fun.
Yeah, I feel it feels like either a Ryze or an Azir first pick, unless it's going to be banned out.
Azir attention might be smart here from Kingzone. I had a look at Justice's solo queue. 9-1 on Azir recently, so he's been focusing mostly on that pick. We know he loves the Aurelion Sol as well, but I feel like if Azir's not first pick, it's going to be first rotation by Jin Air, and it is another AD carry, a bit more normal of one, so Kingzone setting up for potential first pick Ezreal as well, depending on what the final ban will be. I think the only thing that will definitely jump over something like Ezreal will be a Ryze, so...
Well, it's going to be either Ryze, Azir, or SoHwan as the final ban for Jin Air.
Or it could be none of them and get 2.
Hey, that's a good point. And then Kingzone, the whole test of the Ezreal then comes up again, but Sedge is going to be taken away from Peanut. Only played a couple of games, but I have a feeling he won on both of them.
So Ryze does well into Azir and is kind of a big pick for Kingzone, but denying away Kha'Zix is something they're at least going to start a mind game of, and they actually do lock it in. Very interesting. So Kha'Zix was adjusted down slightly this patch, but it feels like Kingzone's only really worry when it comes to Jin Air is the potential for UmTi to get on something like a Kha'Zix and try to mess up Peanut in his jungle. So they want a skirmishing advantage. We'll lock in the Kha'Zix, reminding us of Ixu's famous Akali with the hovers there.
Yeah, I like the hover, but Justice, you mentioned the amount of times he'd played the Emperor of Shurima. Could certainly be a lock in here. They could even decide to take Ryze and Azir if they wanted to go full FLICKR Freaks.
That'll sound crazy to some people watching, but the FLICKR Freaks have shown us they're happy to go for a top Ryze blind, as Keen has spoken about in interviews, the power level of the champion. Remember, we're still on patch 8.2, so there's plenty of stopwatch ults still available.
Yep.
And they could also take away the Ezreal here, so there's going to be a bit of comfort removed from Prey, who just jumped to 8-0 on the Ezreal.
How does Ryze Varus sound?
Ryze Varus sounds like the most obvious thing ever, but let's see if Kingzone want to throw a wrench in the works here. Could also drop to support randomly and take for that.
Gangplank?
Gangplank's available, and maybe Kingzone once again want to take it slow, Atlas.
Well, also, Gangplank, another example of a champion slipping all the way through the draft last time out. The Pirate didn't get much of a mention. Of course, after the Kleptomancy nerfs, he doesn't feel as good, but solo lane's going to be taken pretty much immediately. Seen this trend actually come out a whole lot more on the blue side very recently. Okay. Just Katarina, dude. That sounds so much more fun.
Beatty's smiling, but he knows he's on Ryze duty again. And guess what? Now they're really good at playing 1-3-1 Atlas, so we could see another long game.
Well, I feel like Gangplank is a little bit better in that 1-3-1
And I'm sure Kingzone would prefer to play one person in top, one person in bot, and Peanut invading, where, say, a Gangplank or a Ryze Realm Warp, so it could still be some aggression from this lineup. Someone we mentioned has had a really good record on the Gnar, 3-0 on the season, so it's going to lock it in into the Gangplank, about as standard a matchup as can be. Guys, don't adjust your sets. We do have Ryze versus Azir and Gangplank versus Gnar.
Okay, Varus is at least going to be banned away, so we need a Sivir ban, and then maybe we won't make it to 94 minutes. Also, I like Sivir in this composition in case Kingzone decide to run it. Giving extra movement speed to a Ryze feels real good.
I haven't seen Kingzone had attention on their AD carry pool in a while. This season, 8 games of Ezreal, 3 games of Kalista, both of those taken away. The Varus also banned away, so we're getting into the dregs, you would say, of the AD carry pool. The only other AD carries that Prey has played is Sivir and Xayah, but it is Prey.
That was in their 2 losses as well against KSV.
And we can sit here and pray that perhaps, I didn't mean that on point, regardless, but pray that we might see a Jinx or something.
That's
always
true.
The outside chance we get crazy and Kog'Maw, one of his legacy picks, but the draft so far doesn't lend itself to a hyper carry, so
Xayah Rakan feels like a decent option for Kingzone.
You know what would be pretty good?
What would
Ashe
be pretty good
here.
Oh, wow.
The
Prey special.
The Prey special. A bit of utility because they have the Kha'Zix from the jungle for damage. So initiation from AD carry will be pretty good in this scenario, and Jin is still pretty heavily down prioritized. But when you see something like a Rakan locked in, that would be a bad sign for the Ashe.
Well, Tahm Kench, still another option here for Jin Air if they want it. And Wraith looked pretty good on the champion before. I would have personally liked to see... Oh, okay, no.
Xayah Rakan.
We're going to go Xayah Rakan.
All right, that's fine too.
See, I like... Look, I got something right, but I did like your analysis a little bit better than what actually happened.
We're still going to see the Lovers bot lane from most famous duo you'd say ever played the game. Prey and Gorilla still together, 4 years as a duo.
Doesn't matter how many teams they're on, what the team's name is. Still the dynamic duo of old. UmTi going to go back to an old favorite by the looks of things, and having the Azir and Gnar does sort of say, well, it'd be a no-brainer not to pick up the Jarvan.
Yeah, the Narvan combo of the Mega Gnar into the wall. He'll be a bit frustrated that if Kha'Zix gets the jump, he doesn't really have the ability to turn around. Will be Warrior versus Cinderhulk, you'd have to imagine here. But very balanced draft from Jin Air. Very strong team fight, good siege as well. Can play the 4-1, not the 1-3-1 as comfortably. Kingzone going to be all about playing the map. Sort of thing where if you blink, you're going to be facing a flash, quickness, grand entrance, also a cannon barrage. and an invisible insect coming from behind it. It's basically the way they want to approach this, so very heavily going to be playing around bot lane when it comes to the globals, I would imagine, whereas Jin Air want to try and crush lanes, specifically crush the Gangplank.
I just absolutely love the fact that we've got a glass cannon composition coming out from Kingzone, because it means maybe we'll get some action before 45 minutes this time around. And have I just jinxed it, is I guess the question. I'm a bit terrified now, Papa Smithy.
It's been a funny old day of LCK, the last day before we go into the Lunar New Year break. Khan jumps on the Gangplank again. It's been the one time that he's been happy to just take a back seat in lane and let the opposing laner impart their will. Peanut gets to jump on the Kha'Zix, and UmTi has to deal with an invading disadvantage. But the mid lane is about as boring as can be.
It is. The classic matchup. Of course, we've seen Ryze generally win out as the game starts out. Can sort of start throwing cues at the Azir from his own caster minion line.
Let's do something new, Atlas.
Yeah, let's do something new, like having some kills early on in this game. Let's get into game number 2.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Everyone just has to shout because of how game 1 went.
Yep.
Get it all out there, OGN Legion. You can have a big shout at home. We were shouting a little bit at the end. If we shout enough, maybe we can tire ourselves out and have some real League of Legends happen this time.
Hey, that's true, potentially. And I feel like Kingzone have set themselves up to really challenge Jin Air in that regard. Jin Air still staying on the same track. Just saying, we'll take it to as long, as late as you want.
That's a sick prey.
That is really cool prey.
His famous taunt to the cameras was the checking for power level Pulsefire Ezreal pose. So cool to see him on the Pulsefire Ezreal there. Very nice artist impression. And quietly, very quietly, given game 1, we've actually filled up here, Atlas. We've got a full stadium now for game 2 of Kingzone versus Jin Air, and we'd love to see some action. That's what we're looking for. We're craving some action.
I actually really love it as well. Everyone decided to turn up as soon as they were able to get their money's worth. They're like, oh, they're versus Jin Air. We get as much Kingzone time as possible. This is brilliant. So the only team that's been able to stop Kingzone from going, you know, till about 35 minutes and then winning a game.
Ooh. Jin Air looking to get cheesy, but they're not going to fully commit here. Of course, if they walked in and it was level 1 W skilled by Prey, then Deadly Plumage would have won that trade pretty heavily.
Yeah, would have been a bit of a problem.
We haven't seen the skill yet from Prey and Gorilla. I believe it was Q, though, so it wouldn't have been the Deadly Plumage.
Yeah.
That's some nice poke from Teddy.
Yeah, real good so far. And
he's still got his attack speed stacked up as well. They have to back away and show respect here.
No challenge to come out from the Blade Call or anything like that from Prey. He wants to get that level 2, but it's not going to happen until after Jin Air have also got the level 2. Also fantastic for the Ezreal. So we're going to have to just play the beginning of this laning phase a little bit slow.
And even the extended parts, Atlas, because you'll notice it's also the minion dematerializer on Wraith, so he's going to have a lot of control over when they pop level 3. When it comes to bot lane control, suddenly, pretty one-sidedly on the side of Ezreal and Tahm Kench. Don't normally expect that, but when you don't skill W and when there's a bit of poke at level 1, things can get a bit hairy early for Xayah and Rakan. They kind of overtake the lane around level 5, level 6 a bit more, and
Azir having a bad time.
Yeah, early trade's not going to be great for Ryze. But
chugged through half of his refillable potion, now has the last bit as well. Also has minion dematerializer just to try and challenge the wave clear.
It's very common on Ryze because of the interaction with the E and how it spreads. If you use the dematerializer on a minion that's been E'd, it does actually spread to the rest of the waves. So it gives you extra wave clear. It's one of the few champions that will basically take it 100% of games.
Well, he's used a few of them now. Has been able to shove things forward. Justice going a bit hyphy. Loses all of his mana.
That was I would really like to recall now, so I'm going to attack the minion wave.
Yep.
And everyone recalls in mid lane. Let's go get our items. What will it be for the Ryze, Atlas?
Oh, I don't know. Can he afford a tier?
He can!
I'm not sure.
He definitely
Yeah, he does. Look at that. Look at me, Papa Smithy. I'm learning to be an analyst. We've had a bit of a shortage with the old color casters. I'm doing my practice, guys.
If I ever get sick, I Get in there, Atlas.
Oh, I got you. Don't you
Kilios
worry.
play-by-play, Atlas color, bring back 2014. We got
Oh,
this.
the dream. The absolute dream.
People don't know, but back in the Oceanic scene, you did debut as an analyst.
I did. It was a mistake.
I like how you rode the energy into this facepalm. That's great.
That's what I have to do, Pub Smithy. Say sad things like that. There's only one way to react.
So Khan has started Relic Shield. We'll talk a bit about this because it's uncommon on this patch. So no more quest line. You guys will know that it's 8.2, 8.3 onwards. It's all about the Sightstone. You actually, very commonly, when you do see Relic Shield top, the gameplay doesn't even upgrade it. So it's not about the wards and the quest at all. It's literally around the Bandit passive, which allows you to get 10 gold every parlay. Basically reasonably getting about 20, 30 gold every minute. And that means that you just have gold generation. It's another gold generation option for the Gangplank.
Yep, feels way better. UmTi's going to grab his Electrocute proc onto Peanut, and with the threat of SoHwan moving down from the top lane, isn't going to be able to start off any fights with UmTi.
Yeah, the Gangnam Stadium, they actually showed us the gold that was cashed in when they sold the item, and just from parlays alone, 676 gold.
Jesus.
And I believe just 1 or 2 minions passed over, because obviously it would be in increments of 10 if it wasn't. But
Cull wishes it was that.
exactly, so much gold popping up in that way. Cull is the 450 cash in. But yeah, just gold generation, a bit of extra health, helps you when you inevitably get turret dived. Stopwatch, a bit of health, and gold generation. Happy, happy news for the Gangplank.
Yep. Speaking of stopwatches, there are 5 on the side of Kingzone.
But not 5 on the side of Jin Air.
Yeah, nice work, Jin Air. They needed a few more sorcery trees, I think.
Only 1 sorcery tree on the side of Kingzone.
Actually, no, there's 3. Theoretically, aren't there? Got a couple of Aries.
I was looking on the side of Kingzone.
Oh, Kingzone,
Just
sorry.
1. Just BDD.
So that means that they're not trying to scale into this one, is that it?
No. I mean, honestly, they don't necessarily need the Gathering Storm to scale. They have really, really strong teamfight damage, but you made the point earlier that Gorilla is the closest approximation to a tank and would have to have his grand entrance up to face check just to get out. So when it comes to now wards around Baron, not fantastic. When it comes to 1-3-1, and oh boy, have we got a lineup going on here.
Oh yeah.
Especially if Gangplank is able to stick some items. He gets an item lead over Gnar that we see from time to time. This matchup has gotten more and more Gangplank favored over time after the start of the season being expected to be a counter matchup for the Gangplank. It is and it isn't. One of those things where you don't counter enough, you don't punish enough, you don't have solo kill pressure like a Riven would into a Gangplank. That means that GP does what he does best. He farms up, gets some sick items, and then Gnar's a bit sad that he can't match the gold generation that the Gangplank gets going on.
Yeah, and he has his Sheen now as well, as he teleports back into the lane. So the parlay is going to start hurting SoHwan just a little bit. He ain't going to be too worried, though, because the Ninja Tabi have come in for him.
He, like us, can't feel after game 1.
No, he can't.
We lost all emotional range.
I think everyone is also just like, maybe that's why the sub happened. Like, Grace had almost fallen asleep. He's actually in a coma backstage. Poor Grace. It's okay. He'll be all right. He gets a week's break.
Yeah. Sleep it off.
Yeah, they can get their energy back. Okay. Straight up miss of the ultimate there is UmTi. Already taking a lot of damage just from Peanut alone. Cannon Barrage flies forward. Yeah, they're looking for Justice. This will be the earliest first blood today by a gigantic margin, and Justice is going to go down. BDD picks up the kill. Holy crap, 38 minutes early.
Looking for retribution against his old team, not able to do it. Justice goes down. Kingzone showing the win rates here. Peanut's been on a great track of form. So is the rest of the team, but the Kha'Zix 5-0 already on the season. An old favorite of Kingzone junglers, Cuz, of course, on the Longzhu lineup. Loved him some Kha'Zix, and if you can get it in there and invade, and this time get off the gank, good way to set up the tempo. And when Kingzone actually get ahead, it usually doesn't go like game 1. They usually close a lot more cleanly.
Well, teleport's going to come in. UmTi's not going to really know where to go, but has actually picked the best path. No, Peanut turns himself around, and they'll find the Jarvan. He'll have to get like some sort of flash to make it out of here, because the leap is going to follow up. Realm Warp comes down. Remember, the flash is still available, and UmTi thankfully holds onto it, but he isn't going to be able to steal away a blue buff.
I mean, flash was up on both, so he would have been
follow
able to...
could have happened,
exactly, he would have been able to create enough distance, and he knew Azir was close enough, so your prophecy over flash is denied. Ends up just going to be there to push in the wave and get a Sand Soldier to the face. Just Azir things.
I just wanted more buttons to be pressed.
I mean, but this is smart from Peanut, right? Is that he knows that enemy jungler is low and that Azir is going to be demanding blue. It's a good read there. That's a very heads-up play. Roaming in with his mid laner when there's no chance that UmTi would have recalled because of the need for blue buff. Invading with Gorilla and Prey as well. Wanting to deny away the blue means that UmTi might have to go for a big walk here. Will he take Raptors into still invading? Will those control wards from Kingzone? Probably not. And I believe that's going to be a blue buff advantage, and now also an Infernal, further punishing the one aggressive mistake we've seen from UmTi this game.
Yeah, literally one mistake, and Kingzone takes absolutely everything that they possibly can. Blue buff stolen, Infernal Drake's going to go down. Justice at least helps clear some things out, but that blue buff is still there. And Vision is all around for Kingzone as well, defensively on the top side.
It's good to see these on-the-fly calls from Kingzone and from Peanut in particular. Now they're re-invading their blue side.
Yeah. Khan will actually get the flash out of UmTi. Didn't want to get slowed down by the barrels, and the teleport from Gorilla was threatening enough.
If you just think back to what has happened this game, after the first blood, you know, UmTi's one aggressive move of trying to take away blue has led to blue buff being stolen away, and an Infernal going down, and now he's had to flash and wasted the last 2 minutes of his time, so...
It's the most punishment from one mistake that we've seen so far.
It's just good to see. It's the sort of thing that can happen in games. It often goes unpunished. It takes the best teams to, on the fly, analyze the situation and double down on a smart move or a mistake by the enemy jungler. So a lot of aggression there, and I hear the Gangplank ultimate. This goes off during the laning phase now, guys. This is what happens. Every time the jungler is near, ult the minion wave.
It just reminds me of like the ambient sound from Saving Private Ryan. Just the whole time, like, oh god, I'm getting flashbacks.
Well, need a bit of cooldown reduction to get there, but I take your point.
Yeah.
Dunkirk or something like that as well.
Yeah, maybe. Something with a little bit more sporadic bombs going on. Praying Gorilla just weathering the storm down here. A few CS behind as Teddy's had a bit of extra control, but not being able to finish the Manamune means that the Sheen had to come in after. It was a bit awkward as far as the item timings for Teddy.
Speaking of awkward, you don't often see the BF Sword and Crit Cloak in the inventory, but inching his way towards the Essence Reaver. Probably not going to be an Infinity Edge Ruff. Almost certainly going to be Essence Reaver, but
should be.
15% crit to try and roll high in lane and win trade.
Teddy also going for the damage version of the Ezreal as well, if that dagger is alluding to it correctly. Won't be Iceborne Gauntlet this time, and Teddy does like to have this more high damage build.
Hey, if it was Maha, it might be the famous Berserker Greaves Ezreal.
Oh. Hopefully.
He won a game with it.
I know, and that's only giving it false hope that it's actually good. For those playing at home, just don't build Berserker Greaves Ezreal.
Not if you rush an Iceborne Gauntlet.
Definitely.
He actually had tier Iceborne Gauntlet Berserker Greaves for I frequently do 6 damage to a minion.
And infrequently do much damage to champions.
UmTi back top lane. Khan doesn't have his ultimate. What's he going to do?
I don't know. He might just kill some creeps under the turret. I'm a prophet. So good. See? I'm like, I know I wasn't very confident in my color casting back in 2014, but be damned, Papa Smithy, I can do it now.
I mean, you've casted enough Jin Air games to half cast them and half read a manual on color casting during the game.
Because it's the only opportunity that I have to ever actually think about color casting.
I mean, the chat
during the broadcast.
Chat probably thinks we dislike Jin Air games, but it's amazing how many household chores you can do during them.
Yeah, well, especially when I'm not casting every game like you are, Papa Smithy.
Oh, Peanut!
I have great opportunities. There's an isolated Azir,
He's just
and
gonna kill
Peanut
him.
does so much damage. Yeah, I think that he should be able to get the leap. Oh, cute little crossover
Nice
flashes. And Peanut is not going to be
still
able to find
alive.
that kill. The Sand Soldiers turn it around. Justice, you mentioned he'd been spamming the Azir. Damn, that looked cool, calm, and collected.
He was able to wait that out and use every ability on the back end at the right time. We prophesized his death. We prophesized wrong. Peanut goes down. Feel-good moment for Justice.
Yeah, now the parity as far as gold concerned is brilliant. Kingzone having that Infernal Drake does put them ahead. And a few extra 100 gold, but other than that, no worries there at all.
Love to see a replay of that one. There's so many decisions right at the tail end when he's at 300 health. Allowed him to turn it around. Only had cleanse. He didn't have a barrier or heal to blow earlier. Trying to push down the top side. So many moments that UmTi has visited top side means a lot of turret health have gone down. We'll watch the start here. The moment that he hits a full rotation and electrocute, you think it's over. So ults him towards UmTi. That part's on, then swaps movement there. Swaps position. And then even a flash forward by the mid laner, by BDD's too late. That's a really sick outplay coming through from Justice.
Yeah, really beautiful. And I feel like if anything had have gone wrong at all, it would have been just over. As Khan, speaking of just over, he's going to have to go back home. But next minion wave could mean that UmTi and SoHwan are going to be able to take down this turret for first turret. Jin Air will take the... Oh, he's going to hold. Oh, he probably is.
It's probably still going to be...
Wait for the Saving Private Ryan. Not happening yet.
He's still got his...
There it is!
Yeah!
No, but we're watching it though, so it's different. It's not like the PTSD.
Now we're listening to it.
Jin Air games make us silly, Papa Smith.
They really do.
We get a little bit silly. Okay, Essence Reaver done. First power spike for the Gangplank. Also in as Khan picks up the Trinity Force.
What do you think the ship mix of the decision to ult minions every time? It's not very bloodthirsty by the Gangplank, who's ostensibly got a ship very close to Runeterra to shoot
Yeah, that's true. I mean, what's their job?
Yeah, I don't know.
They just set up another cannon, I guess.
He'll need another one in 2 minutes.
Oh no, he built cooldown reduction. That's so many. As we had a bit of a fight for first turret blood, I think it went down in favor of Jin Air.
Just a little bit there, but you're right. Did go there. Mid lane's been ultra isolated in the death match of Azir versus Ryze.
10 CS the lead, but BDD showing some respect to Justice right now, having the Abyssal Mask instead of the Rod of Ages.
UmTi's kind of
really want a Cloud Drake.
Yeah, UmTi's kind of stuck between two ideas, because he obviously could go top lane and get the easiest turret dive ever, because no turret. Just gank the Gangplank.
Is that it's still a turret dive?
No, but he's super overextended.
Yep.
But then, of course, the Drake was started, so Rift Herald is going to be the visit. See if Kingzone read the play as well as they did around enemy blue buff. Just going to walk over, try to make this a bit faster.
Yeah, just going to shiftingly sands his way in there.
That's not an objective.
What?
It's not an adjective.
It was a verb.
It's not a verb either.
That's definitely a verb. As Khan's going to come over and be a nuisance. Teleport's actually being invested. Yeah, Kingzone really want this battle. It is going to be taken by UmTi, but denied. As Kingzone have set themselves up.
This is my Alamo.
Yep. This King of the Hill game is going to be won by us, dang it.
Now, this takes so long to go away that usually someone just backdoors and picks it up. Because now we're wasting Peanut's time a lot. They didn't actually spot out the ward with that sweeper. Who's going to go over the wall? It's going to be...
No one.
Okay, we're just leaving it there.
Goodbye, Harold. The essence of Shelly.
He literally died in vain.
Or maybe they just thought it wasn't there anymore because there was a barrel on
barrel.
top. You put Shelly in a barrel? No one put Shelly in a barrel.
They put down 700 wards in the area, and Gorilla's still gatekeeping. And see you later, Rift Herald defended.
Nailed it.
25 gold only. Feels bad for all the time spent there. And remember, we talked about what UmTi would get in trade for the dragon.
It was
25 gold.
25 gold, yeah. It's not great.
Should have just picked up a minion on as a cruise by in the mid lane. It would have been fine.
Someone needs to talk to UmTi about monster values.
He's young, you know, he's still understanding the value of money. So
that's true, that's true. Trinity Force and Manamune done for Teddy, though. So he's feeling real good.
He's a budget fountain laser right now. No boots, doesn't need them on Ezreal.
Yeah, but against a Xayah, this feels brilliant. You know, you're going to spike on 2 items and Praise waiting for that Infinity Edge to be done after the Zeal item. Always just 3-item power spikes feel awful, Pub Smithy. I don't know. It feels like you're navigating your way towards relevance instead of winning a game early on, but Praise should be able to get it done.
That's why crit AD carries are always a little bit around the tertiary of the meta these days, because BF Sword, Zeal, into Static Shiv isn't a lot of immediate power compared to everyone's favorite Ezreal Manamune into situationally Iceborne Gauntlet or Trinity Force.
I feel like the Infinity Edge double Zeal item sort of start that Teddy had last game feels a little bit better because you can build that sort of siege style to start things off that, you know, the likes of Caitlyn and Tristana like to do. Jinx as well, if she ever makes her way back. But these more caster-based AD carries just feel as good as far as the item build.
All the vision cleared around the red side, so that would have been a nice sweeper as Peanut's walking up to UmTi. Not going to do a lot of damage.
Oh, silly Papa Smith.
I didn't see the Giants belt, all right?
Going for that Warmog second for the I will never die, but I'll always see people and I'll make Atlas feel like he's relevant, but he's actually not. Teddy, True Shot Barrage to deny any siege. Oh, that was an arcane shift forward. How exciting.
At least when you finish the warm-ups, you can very aggressively place your flag so the team can siege around you.
Yeah.
Sacrifice that positioning. Jarvan's a team player.
He is. I'm Jarvan, I'm helping. This is MO. There was nothing facetious about that particular line ever, nope. I don't think.
Well, we're at 1-3-1 time. At least for Jin Air, there's a lane they actually have control over, which is around the Gnar. Gnar happy to push in, going a decent CS lead. We're waiting for the first Realm Warp use from BDD. We had the endlessly amusing Realm Warp out of the Cataclysm in the previous game.
Yep, BDD thinking that he's actually sieging, but it's just a Sun turret. Guys, I got a turret. Oh, wait, no. Dang it.
Hey, he gets the gold, remember?
Hey, that's true.
UmTi style.
Not a lot. I want UmTi style to be a good thing, Pop Smithy. I think he's a good player.
Rejected name for Gangnam Style.
Yeah. Just didn't quite have the coverage.
No.
As far as
wasn't as referential as Peanuts around again.
Yeah, he's invisible. And SoHwan wants to try and defend himself, but the Gnar bar ain't there. Gonna have to flash and hop. The flash hop should be able to do it, as the turret is still alive on the top side of the map. That was almost exciting. We're getting there. We're getting there. Just gonna take his own blue buff. Everything should be A-okay. But you can see both teams keeping their vision at least on their side. It's very defensive as far as the start of this game is concerned. Lots of bottom side vision available for Jin Air, protecting that outer turret. And you got that classic ward line, control wards for Kingzone.
But it follows the creed that Kingzone kind of opted into with an early Gangplank, with Xayah Rakan, spiking at 3 items. They're not worried about this because Justice has one of the biggest one-item power spikes in the game at National's Tooth on Azir. Ezreal has the mid-game special going for the Trinity Force.
This is probably the biggest two-item spike for the gold.
You would argue maybe Corki on Trinity Force and a Rapid Fire Cannon.
Yeah, true.
It's up there, right? So I feel like at 1-2 items, they're very heavily outclassed. So they're just going to play side lanes. Ult side lanes, move around with the Realm Warp. They're not looking to fight until there's actually things together. And Prey hitting 2 items at the start of that, but unless Gorilla really sees an opportunity, why not wait at that?
Well, Peanut wants to try and get actually something done. Doesn't manage to. It's just that they're so slippery. Realm Walk is actually going to come in here as the Cannon Barrage comes down as well. Big flashes come out from BDD. He wants a kill, but it's Khan that's going to pick it up. Immediately, moving down to the Infernal Drake. It might mean that they can get down here, but double teleports are available. They utilize the Realm Warp and not that TP.
They're in position with Azir and Teddy at very high levels of power. They're looking for a pick. They're not trying to 5v5.
Yep, the Grand Entrance comes in. Quickness comes down as well as the Battle Dance gets Gorilla out of there. Still very squishy. UmTi just has to use the Flag and Drag flash to get himself out. And a flash comes in from Justice as well. So much respect given to Kingzone with 5 members strong. SoHwan does have the teleport, but not going to get here in time.
What a delicate way to play it, though. They never tried to engage 5v5. They flanked from multiple sides to corral Jin Air away and then turn on an Infernal. They had no right in taking. They had no control over the area. So they somehow simulated multiple skirmishes, even against Jin Air, at a stronger item timing, and that gets them a second Infernal, but they really had no right.
Yeah, and immediately turning on to Wraith as well, knowing that you can kill the Tahm Kench before he saves anybody else that you're going to choose to focus down. I like the target selection, and like you said, the positioning was great. BDD making sure that he gets in on the flank as well. So he's very strong right now. Seraph's Embrace already transformed.
I wonder if the next assignment by the coach after the game 1 that we semi-facetiously said might have been about just being the slowest, most controlled game ever. It's definitely a possibility. Maybe this one is, can you win without using your stopwatches? And then stopwatch when the next explodes?
Oh, for They've
got 5.
The Pentagold.
This is the team that at Worlds was able to have a dancing Rift Herald, so
that's true.
We know they have a lot of potential to show us cool things.
Well, I mean, we can hold out hope. Hopefully no one uses those stopwatches. And I feel like that's a lot of people's opinion at the moment, because stopwatch has stagnated the game somewhat, unless you're an LPL fan, at which point it just means that you can dive turrets every day.
We see 1 out of every 20 games go that way in Korea, but sadly only 1.
Yeah.
Khan going for the flank play on the GP. If you're looking at his items, he has gone Yomu, so gone a bit more old school build, no Essence Reaver into, say, 4 items of power. He's gone for the Yomus for a bit more map movement, and given that he's, you know, been taking a lot of aggression from Gnar, it's probably safe to at least be maneuverable.
I also like 30% CDR coming in as Justice. A lot of damage getting taken from Peanut's quickness. Flies forward, great entrance. Ain't no getting out of that unless you've got Wraith to consume up your Golden Birdman, and they're going to escape. Cannon Barrage doing absolutely nothing, actually. Prey taking a lot of damage back from that Sand Soldier that got very angry. BDE though, split pushing.
Yeah, this is all in service of BDE being able to move the minion wave up at the same time. This is the reason why that sort of aggression makes sense, is when you also have your minion wave in position to guarantee at least a turret. Would it have been 2 kills in a turret? Would it have been 1 kill in a turret? Will it be 2 turrets as Prey and Gorilla kind of sneeze in the direction of the outer mid lane turret, and it goes down.
Yeah, and that's just from a skirmish that was almost won by Kingzone, they take 2 turrets. You can see Khan already down towards the bottom side again. The teleport advantage is in favor of Jin Air this particular point in time, so Kingzone actually getting away with more than they probably should this stage. Also, I really like the Yomas as far as split pushing is concerned as well. I mean, getting a bit of extra movement speed on top of bursting your barrels and being able to run real quick.
I think there's kind of 2 schools of thought. A lot of players would go Sterix Gage in this position because of the potential for an all-in and Jarvan showing up when your flash is down and potential killing. But if you're confident in the forward to play the map perfectly on the top side, then you know that the enemy will never be able to gank your bot side, because then you'll just die.
Peanut. Whoa, takes so much damage back from Teddy as the Arcane shifts out. Mystic Shot casually chucked in.
Yeah, when you see such aggressive playmaking on the top side, UmTi knows if he ever goes bot side to gank the Gangplank, he'll lose Baron. They'll lose a big objective. So that's kind of the thing they have to struggle with here, and that's why you can go more offensive on your build when you have a team that's so good at playmaking, and a spot like Gorilla, who's always looking to get 1 step ahead of the play and be there on the Rakan.
He really desperately wants to try and get some vision around this Baron. Thankfully, they have the cheeky one just outside the pit that Peanut doesn't see.
It was spotted, but not cleared.
As of yet, anyway. It was about to die itself, but Khan goes back and buys a full Phantom Dancer.
You know, Infinity Edge is following as well for the Teamfight Dream build.
Yeah. Cannon Barrage flying forward is Khan. Lots of movement speeds. Pocket Watch going to be used by Wraith.
Oh,
he's just going to explode. Good God, that damage was insane. Gorilla, no! Why did you use your stopwatch? We needed that for the end of the game.
That was insane amount of damage. He had so much health, but he got crit before he could actually press the Grey Health and died.
And it looked like he could have even been spamming that button, but apparently Khan was faster. This Peanut still squishy against Justice's damage.
That was some bogus damage.
That was stupid damage.
Didn't even have an Infinity Edge to justify it, so that was interesting.
Maybe the pirates on the ship actually heard what we were talking about before and were saying, no, but look at how good our cannon barrages are.
Are there more pirates on the ship? There probably is, right?
Oh, it's got to be. I mean, if he's a pirate captain, there's got to be more pirates. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Well, he's running real fast.
He'll back away. Kingzone will continue to push. Prey will, no doubt, have Infinity Edge gold next time he backs, and then they're ready to go for the team fights. They've been avoiding largely for first 30 minutes. Reinforced with double Infernal. And it's getting out of order here. The side of Kingzone.
It's becoming quite frightening. And I think Khan has the option of either getting the Infinity Edge if he's feeling confident, or could even just turn his stopwatch into the Guardian Angel if he wants to.
There's that Infinity Edge.
Oh god, okay, the 3-item spike. We spiking! Bob Smithy, Prey, picking up exactly what he wants.
Your voice cracking over there, mate.
Yeah, it got a little bit silly there for a second. I just tried to talk through it, but apparently it didn't work.
It did not.
No.
I noticed, at least. I'm keeping you accountable, Atlas.
Thanks, Papa. Oh, okay, Zeke's Convergence coming down as well for Gorilla. So that rush has become more and more popular on the Rakan.
It makes a lot of sense on Xayah Rakan, I think, because it's in the place of Ardent Sensor, and also the extra magic damage does apply in an align AoE with the Q. So being able for the feathers to apply the 50% bonus magic damage, and him hitting 3 items. We saw what Kramer could do with this rush when Kramer and Tucson were rocking the Xayah Rakan Zeke's Convergence rush, and people just appreciating this item a lot more recently. Usually when Gorilla presses the go button, which is the R, it's usually when the fight starts. He is the fight maker, so he can guarantee to get the most duration out of that passive, so future excitement expected.
Yeah, well, Kingzone just feels so extraordinarily strong. They take the 4th dragon of the game very, very quickly. 28 minutes here into this game. We're going to have a lot of dragons, yeah.
Don't see that too often. So no Elder at 35 minutes. Going to be 34-20-ish, the last cloud will come through.
Yep. Prey making a mess in the mid lane, throwing feathers everywhere. It's like a chicken coop when you've got Xayah in the game.
Can make things scary here, though. You'll notice only 2 sweepers on the side of King's Own because they're largely playing 1-3-1, and that means a lot of advanced vision and pick wards up to give early spotting to the side of Jin Air, who now had to evolve a bit. The 1-item, 2-item power spikes they had, they're still getting more items, but suddenly you're seeing very powerful pickups. The 3 items now complete on the Xayah. Ryze getting chased down.
They're actually using the flash. A lot of respect given to SoHwan there. So he's actually gankable at this point in the game. If UmTi wanted to make that dangerous decision to make his way bottom side. At the moment, spread pretty thin, but Jin Air still just trying to get their movement, get their minion waves into the right position in order to be able to make a play anywhere on this map.
I gotta admit, boots of mobility, Kha'Zix. Increasingly, I am respecting how much threat range he has with the step out of a bush, invisible, then go invisible again. You can cover a lot of ground.
Yeah. It's like wards. Who cares?
Not Kha'Zix.
Absolutely not.
Not ultra massive, but farmed, if not fed.
Yep.
About 15 camps ahead of his opposing number jungler and UmTi. Probably some lane CS as well, inflating that number.
And I feel like at the beginning of this game, Papa, we got excited about the fact that there was a first blood that went at 7 minutes. Extremely exciting. But since then, there really hasn't been much more. I mean, a 5,000 gold lead approximately here for King's Own, but I feel at 30 minutes, it was already stretching out like that because King's Own were better at taking down turrets. It's happened once again, and from what felt like it was going to be a different game, it's turned around.
It's still controlled.
Pretty similar.
It's still very controlled by King's Own. That's what they're trying to do in this series. The most common thread is it's been pretty risk-free League of Legends. They've basically been trying to double down on win conditions, to play side lanes. In the game 1, it almost, was completely turned against them. They almost lost trying to play risk-free League of Legends because there's the old adage that if you always try to take the free but kind of like low-risk opportunity, then you might miss out on rewards that you could have rolled more advantageously for. It's not always low risk, low reward is the right way to go. Sometimes you have to gamble. They didn't gamble at all in game 1 and almost paid for it. Jin Air almost pulled off a highway robbery. In game 2, they've now hit their items. This is the period where we expect them to get more aggressive. So for now, at least, we're seeing Prey have to play defensive, but we're waiting for Gorilla to really turn the game with a Rakan.
Well, you can see both Prey and Teddy pretty keen to demonstrate that they can do some damage to each other. Down to about half health as Prey. He's going to take a lot from Justice. BDD turning it around, though. Starting to get dangerous. In goes Peanut. Wants to find a kill, but it's just going to be able to get a W down.
He's clearly getting angsty. Wants to get some action going. Pre-18 being hit on the Gangplank and the Gnar. But pushing your advantage in mid-game is something very difficult in this meta. You can see very clearly on the map how everything's supposed to play out. Control ward sticking. Ryze wants to play top lane. Well, Azir wave clear and having an escape means the Azir can't be collapsed on, so they back away. They give away free minion waves. Mid lane always the hardest to take a second turret in just because of how narrow it is. So Ezreal's able to laugh and also just hold the minion wave there. And then bot lane, Gangplank has so much line clear, but Gnar has the advantage over him. This classic matchup we've seen all season, but that will also get to a standstill. Unfortunately for a lot of people watching, we're just waiting for something to change. We're waiting for the game state to change, and here we go!
There's the grand entrance. Teddy's going to explode. Prey picks up that kill. SoHwan now absolutely no Narbar to speak of, and UmTi's going to get discovered by Peanut, who shreds him.
That was the
Jin Air
moment.
Still defending. Yeah, it was beautiful setup.
Yeah, threatened for the longest time, but finally Gorilla sees it, goes flash, and gets the collapse onto Teddy. No ability to turn around. For more exit kills, but a Baron most likely on the menu for King's Own.
Yep, Devour does save SoHwan. 25 seconds on Teddy. Jin Air still opportunities, and if King's Own are grouped up in a Baron pit, makes Azir's life pretty good.
Jin Air can be a bit more defensive because King's Own don't have a lot of tankiness, but they have so much damage. There's a fine line, and see when UmTi throws in the flag? Doesn't have vision yet.
They don't have a lot of ability to tank up
That's
the
what
Baron,
I'm saying,
Puppy. Yeah.
They can turn off it very powerfully, although a little bit less, with the flash and the quickness down on Gorilla. But like you say, they can't stick on it unless they're going to try and burst it down, and UmTi's alive, so they don't make that call. So they go up, picks a nice purchase. There is the Infinity Edge from Gangplank, the 4-item dream here. Big damage build from the Gangplank. They don't change their position, and here comes Ryze to try to relieve pressure.
And Peanut cannot take damage at all. He can do a lot, but he has to be the one moving forward. He's going to get chunked out, and with Peanut chunked, this could be now the opportunity for Jin Air, who do have fantastic ability to tank up the Baron, unless there's a cannon barrage.
Peanut will back. Good call by Jin Air, but also by Khan to just stop that from being a threat. Doesn't feel good to use the chunk out onto the enemy Kha'Zix to take a Cloud Drake at 34 minutes, but that is just spawned.
Maybe that has to be the way. They're going to be moving real fast. Triple Cloud feels good.
They still control the top side. There is a cheeky ward, you'll notice, just below where we are to spot out that Jin Air have entered the pit.
Jin Air actually really controlling this top side as Cloud Drake will fall down as everyone's able to get themselves over this wall. True shot, bro? Nope, not headed towards. He does. And he's got room for control wards as well, Papa Smithy. Is there anything more that you want in a top laner?
Interplay Riven, or a more interactive champion than Gnar or Gangplank.
All right, so actually there's a lot of things.
On a different day, Khan will show us one of those, but today, a lot more passive.
Still, impressive play. 100% kill contribution as well on the Gangplank.
The reason why this series is so surreal is that you want to reward the team playing Kingzone when it isn't a stomp, right? You want to be like, Jin Air have controlled them. I don't know if that's the right word to use. They're turning on to Teddy again.
Gorilla is trying to force this one. Does get the double knockup for a lot of damage. BDD trying to follow, but no, a little too far forward was Gorilla, and not a lot of damage was actually able to be thrown forward.
Yeah, they're fighting away from Prey, who is a lot of their consistent damage in fights, so getting no value out of the Zeke's convergence that time either.
Yeah, and that's Flash and double Ghost down for Kingzone in response to just a cleanse from Justice.
The surreal thing about this game is that it feels like it's extended because Kingzone wanted to be extended. The meta also acting against them. Jin Air being decent in the defense, but Kingzone have been so controlled in a way that hasn't been their recent style. The games have extended. We're going to go way past their average game time again. I'm still surprised to see 5 Drakes dead at 35 minutes, but it's the kind of game it is. Gorilla will feel confident. 3 Cloud Drakes, Ghost, Flash.
Oh,
that is the most out of combat movement speed to get a catch.
And Peanut as well. I mean, look at how fast he goes, going invisible in the jungle. Stay permanently invisible. Despite the amount of vision that Jin Air has, it just feels like if it's Peanut that's roaming around, I'll have absolutely no idea.
He had 654 movement speed when he was exiting the brush.
Yeah.
654. And this is in a game that has hard caps on movement speed.
Yeah. And when you get the bushfire combination of dragons as well, this feels really good. You got that fire being spread all over the map extremely quickly.
This game can still change in an instant. If Kingzone decide to DPS down the Baron, they see UmTi on the bot side of the map, they can almost kill it instantly with just sheer damage. Doesn't matter about tankiness if it dies so fast. So UmTi's positioning here is really important because Kingzone can pull the trigger anytime.
Well, so can Jin Air, but UmTi doesn't really want to. Cannon Barrage just to tell UmTi that this was a bad move, but maybe a little bit of an
The only reason to do that is to start Baron Atlas.
Well, that's precisely what they're going to do. UmTi's going to move himself over, but he's now very, very low. Gorilla can possibly get them out of there. Look at the goddamn damage on the Baron. It's dead almost immediately. In Kingzone, we said that, you know, it's hard to make these sort of calls just because they can't tank it for very long. We don't have to tank it for very long if you've got a bajillion damage at your disposal.
Yeah, I was just talking about alluding to it. UmTi couldn't be on the wrong side of the map. Him getting chunked out is the same thing. So Baron taken under the nose of Jin Air. Goes a chunk onto a single member. It's not a bloody team fight. That's what everyone is obviously looking for. Some really big fight with 9 people dying. We're not going to see that. They get the Baron, they go back to 1-3-1, and they go back to just trying to stretch Jin Air very thin.
Whew. Well, just feels like game number 1 all over again, Papa. We've got close to a 9,000 gold lead for Kingzone, more like 8. Sort of rounding up to an extra 1,000 just to try and make up for the passivity, but 8,000 gold in the lead, close to 40 minutes into the game, but Teddy almost has 6 items. And when you're Jin Air, if it's Teddy that's almost got 6 items, then it almost doesn't matter what else is happening. UmTi's set himself up for the brick wall build. SoHwan's got 4 items that feel pretty good as well. It's just Justice that's waiting to come further online, but he's going to look for BDD for that. Stopwatch. Actually, the Zhonya's and the Realm Walk going to get himself out of the way and means that the pressure given top lane is relieved in the mid lane. That turret is going to fall. Baron buff helping his Prey, taking a lot of damage. UmTi comes in. Featherstorm goes down though. The Devour is going to save him, but what the hell is this Khan damage? He's not even here.
It was all Prey actually. Khan just gets the kill. Cheeky kill, there's Teddy. Almost assassinated.
Whoa.
And meanwhile, and the 1-3-1
Yeah.
at the ranch.
And that's going to be 2 inhibitor turrets falling down in quick succession. Inhibitor's going to follow as well. So Jin Air unable to stave off this Baron pressure. 14,000 gold is all of a sudden the lead. We're going to have 3 inhibs down very, very quickly because you can see the furious pings from Jin Air. They just don't have really options as Prey so far forward is more than happy to go toe-to-toe with everyone just because he does so much damage.
Third inhibitor being readied by Peanut. Has to respect Teddy's damage. BD gonna walk up, try to help. 3 inhibitors, basically the death knell for Jin Air. They come back from worse. With where this game is at right now, this is probably not gonna be another one of their heroic defenses.
Yeah, they've got 2 Nexus turrets, and that has seemed to be pretty good news, but look at the money in the pockets of Kingzone. That is silly.
He has 20,000 gold made in 39 minutes on the Gangplank.
Oh, God. Static Shiv now as well.
6 items, baby.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of good ones as well, sticking to the
sure?
light blue and yellow theme.
Are we sure Kleptomancy was nerfed on Gangplank?
Not really. No.
He found the Relic Shield, and I guess giving him the gold that he's losing from some of the items being sold for less.
Yeah.
Sold for less, sold for less. Words are hard.
They are hard, but by the looks of things, Papa, you will have a little bit of a break before MVP and BBQ
but
their way to the Rift.
The Kingzone period got shorter this time.
It did. It did.
Kingzone period is what we call the break when you have Kingzone playing in match number 1. It goes 2-0, and you usually have an hour, 10 minutes to wait. Might only be about a 25-minute break this time. As Prey and Gorilla getting excited about the Lovers duo.
Yep. This Elder Drake feels extraordinary for Kingzone. Look at how quickly they're going to be able to run up and kill Nexus turrets.
They're going to do some sick damage. Even Gorilla with 5 stack of his W, just the deadly plumage damage with 5 stack true damage, actually insanely high. So even Gorilla will casually be killing people on the full tank Rakan. I want him to activate deadly plumage and then auto someone.
Oh, no, he threw out a Q. That's not going to do anything. Gorilla, just auto attack them. Oh dear.
Just wait for the ultimate to be popped on Gorilla and just watch Prey just train people down alone.
Well, SoHwan's going to turn Mega at exactly the right time, so it might mean that Kingzone are going to back away for potentially this wave. But Nexus turret's still falling. You're right, it just does so much damage. No matter who you are on Kingzone, this Elder Dragon is huge. There's the flash now, but Featherstorm, perfect timing, pulls back the feathers to do so much work. Everyone's just dying now as Peanut gets rid of UmTi and Jin Air. They're going to have to fight this one from the fountain. A massive Emperor's Divide is not really going to do a whole lot because Prey is still alive, but Teddy wants to make sure that that doesn't happen anymore. They just evaporated.
The minions!
Yeah.
They almost killed Teddy.
Super Creep still in the work. Prey still going to be able to take down the Nexus, and a 2-0 against Jin Air, but the weirdest one Kingzone have shown us so far.
The one series where the scoreboards do absolutely no justice on what we saw on the Rift. Kingzone did not look like losing until they very much just gave up the 13th game in their streak. Only 237 HP on the Nexus really allowed them to actually take down Game 1. Game 2, it was slow again, it was ordered, it was 1-3-1. Again, it went long. Kingzone DragonX, still the best team we have, but a bit of a head-scratcher, bit of an abstract art from them before we go into their break. We will not see them again until after the Lunar New Year break, which will occur during next week's games. So there will be no games next week. We will wait to see Kingzone next time. We'll also wait to see a different Kingzone, because this one, it was weird.
It was super weird. They still won, though, and they still organically just won out the map. The macro play was clean, but not the kind of aggression and flashiness that we see from Kingzone when they're styling all over other teams. Like, for example, what they did to KT just a couple of days ago.
I really wish we could go down there in the interview and just ask some pointed questions like why and what.
Yeah.
How.
Yeah, well, I mean, we are going to have that interview.
But I don't want to mince words. I need to talk to the members of Kingzone for this very strange series.
Well, I guarantee that you'll have that opportunity, Papa. Drop Gorilla a line and figure out what the heck happened. Maybe we can update the viewers afterwards.
But again, the sort of series where you know, the coach will have things to say about how they closed out Game 1, but I think Game 2 was sort of League of Legends, an analyst, a coach would love to see clean, largely bloodless. They didn't look like they were going to be, they didn't open a position for the enemy team to take advantage of them, so they were winning basically from the start of the game. Jin Air, they don't look depressed, but they look a bit kind of bemused and shocked about what happened in the past 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think bemused is definitely the word. UmTi as well, I mean, that one mistake that he made in the early game probably led to it all falling apart as we moved into the hyper late game. Looking at the damage that was coming out of Prey there towards the end, really was difficult for Jin Air to find that opportunity because it felt like they were on a little bit more of a clock this time around.
And Kingzone DragonX are now 14-0 Atlas. 3 more game wins, and they will equal the longest ever streak we've had in the LCK, SK Telecom T1 in summer of 2015. 18 wins in a row represents an entire round robin's worth of play, right? It's 9 matches.
Yeah.
So while they don't have a perfect round robin, they are 1 set away themselves from actually exiting 9 best-of-3s in 18 games, the minimum, although with a blemish to KSV.
Just nuts. Look at this damage coming out of Peanut especially. Jungler doing 16,000 feels pretty amazing, but Prey getting to 30k at a 42-minute game ain't bad.
And Rakan getting the assist from the Deadly Plumage to double Jarvan's damage. Take that, Jarvan.
Oh god, yeah. That Gleaming Quilly must have hit all of them. Swear to God. What a powerful, powerful ability.
Well, we just about fit all the dragons into the little box on the left there. There were 6 of them, including the Elder, the MVP. Who will go to this time? How about Prey?
Damn, he did some damage.
The center of the LCK voted the most popular player in the league, including FLICKR and the other names. Sky has been around forever. So lovable, the first MVP of the season. Maybe we'll pick his brain about what was going on in this series. The Xayah, though, it was training down people by the end.
Oh, yeah, it most certainly was. I actually forgot who got the first MVP, so it'll be a surprise to me as to who's coming in to
Peanut.
join Prey. Peanut and Prey to give us 66% of the Rocks
Teddy
Tigers
channeled
on the
his
team.
ult, and he shouldn't have done that.
No, that was a bad move.
Don't want to be rooted in place when both the Gangplank and the Rakan were walking up. That was a bit of a snafu from Teddy. This is where you saw how much damage you do on just your ultimate. The Featherstorm instant killed UmTi, basically.
Yeah. I mean, right in the middle of the Cannon Barrage didn't feel great either, but that timing on the Featherstorm coming out from Prey, it's just perfect.
I mean, he gets to do Ezreal-esque things with the Featherstorms, not as short a cooldown as with the Ezreal, but you talked about his teamfight mobility. It's been wonderful this season. Hasn't led to any MVPs, as some people got a little bit too close to the Nexus. And
that was a pretty
just like
good
when you
Emperor's
stare
Divide.
into the sun, you die for it.
Yep. I actually didn't notice a lot of these
The
players
minions almost
dying.
killed Teddy. It was really funny.
Is it funny?
Yeah.
Or is it a little bit sad? I don't know. Jin Air put up a decent fight. They at least went long today, but still the 2-0 for Kingzone. So we are going to go to the MVP interview, so let's throw it over to Joel to give us some translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your interview translation of today. Here with Kingzone DragonX, pulling up a 2-0 once again. Not in the same fashion as they used to do, but we're going to be hearing from the winners and the MVPs from this series, Peanut and Prey, for the interview.
네, 7연승입니다. 7연승.
7 series straight win for you
프레이
guys.
선수 소감이 어떠세요?
Prey, how do you feel?
오늘 네, 살짝 불안하기도 했지만 어쨌든
It was a shaky
2대0으로
series for us
좀
for sure, but
것 같아요.
2-0 still feels valuable for us and
또 굉장히
still
오랜만에
makes us
이렇게
very happy.
인터뷰도 하시잖아요.
네. 어떻게 이제 또 MVP 포인트 또 100점
And I know that it's my first MVP point, and that measly 100 point that I got sure means a lot today.
땀이 좋아요. 피넛 선수 오늘 경기 사실 쉽지 않았는데.
You know, it wasn't an easy game for you guys, and you got the win. How do you feel?
이제 거의 다 이랬었는데
First game was basically a loss for us, but and after winning out such a drastic victory on that one, it really turned the tables on our emotions of how we handled the game and gave us a lot of boost going into game 2.
그래서 경기하기 전에 이제 프레이 선수 또 오랜만에 오셨으니까 여러 가지 여쭤보고 싶은데.
And since we haven't seen Prey in the interview booth in a while, and of course that you guys are extending this win streak to quite a while now, and you're about to break the 17-win streak that has been held by SK Telecom. I know it was somehow we're very close to there, but I know that we're nowhere close to a perfect team, and it's something that we kind of humbles us to be doing this well. Let's talk about game 1. The first kill came at 39 minutes. And it actually did come from Jin Air's then. And what was the struggle and what was the thought process on going that late into the game without kills? I mean, it was about Prey who needed to make the first initiates to make the attack, and you know, even during the second Baron, and we thought a kill might come then, but a mistake from our part led to the first kill, and later on we just kind of saw Ezreal just pop and just die off, and kind of a surprise for us. And I think the game itself kind of shows itself that it does extend over to long games like this quite easily, and for us it's actually the first time ever that we had such a long game, and it was a difficult one to really solve out for us. I'm sure you guys thought that you guys should have gotten the win at the first kill. Yeah, after the first Baron, you know, we thought that we might need to handle this game a little bit differently now, and the kind of the team morale went really low after that one. So, and we just tried to cheer each other on and hope for the best. And we knew that the later we go into the competition, we were going to be weaker than the opponent team, so we weren't feeling good, definitely. And he did a very good job on that one, getting the angles right with his skill shot. So I was very impressed by how the opponents killed me on that one. And you guys were at your Nexus, and didn't you think that you guys lost the game? We didn't want to think that we lost, but and we were just trying to think of all the infinite ways of how we could stop them from taking the win, and who was the most passionate in trying to stop the win there for Jin Air. As soon as they were hitting the Nexus turrets, and we were telling each other that it might end, and we tried to get the Caitlyn first for, you know, one at a time, and somehow it got extended to give us a win there. Who was the biggest benefactor in the one making this happen? I think Ezreal's shuckling was great. Kind of Prey was the first one to tell me to stay Ezreal, but it's mostly due to the opponents making the mistakes rather than us doing everything perfect to get this happen, because I think the opponent's mistake really added on to allowing this to happen. If there was someone else you could pick out for MVP for that game, who would you pick? And there was the only way that we could get that done was through Ryze, and you can spread the damage through that. And I looked at the screen after the game and saw me on the screen, and I would have thought that, you know, BDD could have been a viable winner on that one. We'll talk about the early game, picking out the controls of the objectives. We actually thought that, you know, Peanut would have been an MVP, and we thought it could have been anybody really. Cloud Templar picked Peanut. But it really doesn't mean much where the entire team contributed to it. But let's go over to game 2, and definitely wasn't an easy game either. And you did pick out the Xayah Rakan combo for this game. And a lot of people are liking this, that combo in this specific patch.
8.1 패치에서도 아프리카가 썼었거든요.
I think 8.1 patch showed Africa's use of the Xayah Rakan,
조합이 이제 다시 나오게
and I think slowly as the meta moves on, the Xayah Rakan is getting a little bit of love and getting a little bit of priority in the pick bans.
그런 건 없으셨나요?
아 이제 라칸에 막 올려놓고 이제 막 그런 거 뭐 유도하는 느낌이라고.
I mean, it wasn't about putting the Rakan up and trying to pick out a ban from the opponents, but it was about us having a composition in. And after a little bit while, we thought that Rakan was open during the ban pick phase, and we wanted to pick it up as soon as we remembered and saw it. And Ezreal, 8 uses of that champion for you guys, and you guys are getting the wins every time. And you seem like you're identifying yourself with that champion. Or do you have a confidence with that champion specifically? What? What are you asking? Well, I mean, it's a good champion. And it was in a good situation, when the wins went right. I think the stats aren't the biggest factor in telling us what that means for the champion. I feel like the objectives and the macro fights and all the surrounding aspects that get you the win, and feels like it's very important. But who do you feel like gets the biggest control in controlling the leadership of the team? It's always about our coaching staff always telling us to prioritize the objectives, and that getting the objectives early should allow us to make the game a little bit easier on us through the mid to late game. And it's very important for all of our teammates to look at the game the same way and have a very similar, parallel perspective on how to win a game. And I think that our team does a good job with that one. And I heard that today is your last match and you guys are awaiting your long break. How do you feel about that one? Yeah, we have a long break before we get our next game coming up for LCK. And you know that getting this long break is a bit special, but I feel like it's still gonna be practice regimes going back and forth while enjoying a little bit of time off as well, but shouldn't be too special. We do have a lot of fans on the stage here and trying to cheer for you guys. Let's say to them. But New Year's coming up for Lunar, and although we're gonna be having a good rest, we're gonna come back and try to show a stronger team for Kingzone. And I hope you guys have a great holiday, and we'll see you back after the holidays. Pray anything to the fans? No, I was specifically looking to get 100 points in MVP, and I'm gonna try to do well to be a good player and to get all the love from you guys. And that was your interview with Prey and Peanut. Specifically, Prey for the very first time getting the 100 MVP points for this guy. We're gonna head it back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel. I heard that hint of a giggle in your voice because Prey was very excited to finally get an MVP.
I mean, Joel was a bit hoarse today, maybe screaming too much in his Summoner Confirmed Fighting Arena broadcast yesterday. Needs to really watch that one. We need you at full strength, Joel.
Yeah, come on, Joel.
I think we sort of saw Kingzone at full strength, but also not. They almost lost, but they did end up winning. It does end up being 14 in a row. They will be eyeing the 17 and thus 18 new record. But for now, they are confirmed to go into the break as the #1 team in Korea.
Yep, nothing really changing here for Jin Air, but BBQ Olivers could actually step ahead of them in our next matchup, which will be coming up in about 20-odd minutes. It's not going to be one of those gigantic breaks this time, ladies and gentlemen. We're absolutely fine. BBQ Olivers take on MVP very soon to see whether they can pip Jin Air at the post.
Yep, that will be, of course, the last OGN match before the break. So come join us, an interesting one. MVP getting better, not necessarily in terms of match score, but more competitive. And BBQ don't really know where they're at. They lost to SKT, the only team to have done that since the first early match days. So both these teams in a weird spot. Could be a long one. I'm ready for some League of Legends. We're going to have such a long break. But guys, join us in about 20 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes, and we'll get it started.
Yeah, find out whether it's going to be Trick or whether it is going to be Bono as well. A lot of exciting things. But yeah, about 20 minutes. We'll see you then.
Tears
tears always dry. Aim high, trust that you're able. You just might fly. We sing a bad lullaby. 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 Oh, like you've never been hurt before. You to the fire. These are my words from my sweet child. We sing a bad lullaby. 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 It's all like words from a child to hear the word right. It's restless, want to be fearless, to do it better than I ever could. We sing a bad lullaby. It's all like words from a child to hear the word right. It's restless, want to be fearless, to do it better than I ever could. Sing out my lullaby. Cry, no fear, tears always dry. Aim high, trust that you're able, and you just might fly.
Coming up next, BBQ Olivers, MVP, beginning of the end. 2018 League of Legends Champions Korea Spring Split.